So welcome everyone to the next series of the Chamber Chat. My name is Justin Furrow. I'm the chair of the Public Policy Committee at the Chamber. And we are delighted today to have with us mayoral candidate Kim White. Kim, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Great to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. So our Chamber Chat series, as we were discussing a little bit, is our opportunity to talk with elected officials and those who hope to be elected officials about the things that we feel like impact our business members and members of the Chattanooga Chamber. This is a series that we've been doing for some time now, and so we're glad that you are having the opportunity to join us. The format today, I feel like a moderator, the format today will be, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and why you're running for mayor. And then I have a list of questions that I'd like to go through and hear a little more about, some of your policy positions, kind of the things you hope to do if you are to be elected.
Yeah, Justin, so thank you so much for the opportunity. As a longtime chamber member, I certainly appreciate the work that you all do. So some things that people may not know about me: I am a native Chattanoogan. I mean, I was born to 17-year-old parents. I grew up in Hickson. I went to Hickson High School. I was the first in my family to go to college. I worked my way through UTC and left after college in search of a career and ended up in Augusta, Georgia, where I started on a career path with a telecommunications company and met my husband. We've been married for 32 years. And his company was bought about the time that they were pushing me to move. So lucky him, he got to travel with me on my career path. And we did 3 different states and 4 different cities. And in 2003, decided that it was time to put down roots in a community, and we chose to come to Chattanooga. When I came back here in 2003, I didn't have a job. I did like a lot of people in Chattanooga. I had to start all over again, and I didn't have political connections at that time. I hope I do now, or business connections or family business to run. It was starting over, and I'm a very good cold caller networker, and that's what I did. I went and rolled up my sleeves and tried to find a way to use my voice in Chattanooga. And it's hard for me to believe that 18 years later, I'm here running for mayor. But I ran Mayor Corker at the time, to Senator Corker's real estate company for several years until he ran for the Senate. I was on the board of River City Company when they were looking for a CEO in 2009, and really felt like that's where my path had led me. I had served on the Erlanger board for 6 years. I've done just about anything that you could do at UTC. I'm currently serving on the UT Board of Trustees. But I was the CEO of River City Company for 11 years. I think a lot of people do know this, that we're a private nonprofit focused on downtown redevelopment. And through that time, worked alongside city government for those 11 years. The only ways River City got anything done was to have the county, city, foundations, all the partners agree, and that's how we move forward. And so had the opportunity to develop a lot of collaborations and partnerships, recruited $1.2 billion of investment for downtown, thousands of jobs. And I've had people over the years encourage me to use my voice in a larger way. And it's obvious that there's parts of our city that have been overlooked and feel neglected. And I do believe that my background of successful recruitment partnerships, of getting things done, can translate so well in every part of the neighborhood or every part of our city. And that's what I've been focused on. Now since September, I've been out in the community. I believe that a community is ground up, listening to folks, and the Chamber of folks will be happy to know my #1 policy is economic growth. How do we actually grow jobs, support small businesses, put funds into infrastructure? I know we're going to talk about all of that, but I do believe sometimes you find your path and sometimes your path finds you. And this is a path that I'm supposed to go down. So this non-political person with no future political ambitions, I want you to know, is excited to bring my civic leadership to bear to really move our city forward.
That's great. And you mentioned economic development and downtown redevelopment, and that's a nice segue, because that's where I would like to go first. We've seen the effect that the pandemic has had on air travel internationally, but particularly locally with the Chattanooga airport. What do you think, as mayor, what do you think the city could do to help expand air service at our Chattanooga airport?
Well, I mean, that one is tough, right? If it was easy to do, we would have already done it. And so I do think, how do we actually get more businesses here? How do we actually recruit more jobs here? And that's going to be one of my top focuses, is how do we have more demand? So I think it is really working with you. I think the city mayor is the lead salesperson along with the chamber to actually look at those opportunities. But I think we've got to grow our base. We're lucky that we have Volkswagen and Amazon, but there's a lot of work that we need to do. And I look forward to being an active partner with the chamber to make sure we bring more businesses here so there is more demand in that respect. But the airport service is tough. I mean, we have a great leader over there. And again, I think me being an active partner to say, what can the city do to help us expand service would be critical.
So in terms of bringing business here, recruiting jobs and recruiting businesses to come to Chattanooga, what resources and incentives do you think that the city could or should provide to support new job creation?
Well, I don't think anything should be off the table. I think, unfortunately, we've let the incentive discussion be led by naysayers and activists. We need to talk about the importance. I mean, we do when we give incentives that it does need to have significant community benefit. You will find that I would be a very active, vocal partner to make sure that we explain if there are incentives given. But I don't think that we should take anything off the table. We were recruiting against a lot of different cities. And so, yeah, I think if it makes sense and it has community benefit, that we ought to explore it and look at it. I don't think as a city, we've been as creative as other cities around the country have. So there's lots of opportunity, I think, for us to do more of that.
So you talk about, bringing more people to the table. Let's shift a little bit to economic inclusion. The Chamber Foundation strategic plan it's centered on a vision for an inclusive economy with collaborative leaders. It's something we went through during the strategic planning process. So this is a situation where economic mobility is available to everyone. What do you think the city's role should be in helping our business community and frankly, the community overall attain this vision? Or how can we partner with the city as a chamber to advance this to action?
Yeah, it's to know that we have 2,300 jobs that are open and unfilled because we don't have a qualified workforce, and then see the other end of it, that people are struggling and need a job. I think workforce development is a huge piece of it. How we can do more out in the neighborhoods, how we can talk to partners like Chattanooga State, how we can talk to partners like, it's been interesting as I've been around and touring and visiting companies like from Miller Industries, the Southern Spear, to look at what these one-offs are doing with workforce training. I think that we have a real opportunity to build a stronger network about how we have a more trained workforce. And maybe it's providing existing companies that are doing some of that training some incentive to do even more. I'm excited about working with the AGC and what they want to do with some of their trade school ideas. But I think that we've got to go out and really workforce development is the key. It hasn't been the lack of jobs here. It's been the lack of a qualified workforce.
So staying on the economic inclusion topic, so minority business enterprises, MBEs. If you become mayor, how will you work to ensure that MBEs thrive in Chattanooga? And I'm talking about specifically kind of MBE certifications, procurement, and contracts with the city.
Yeah, well, right now our city is very difficult to do business with. I mean, very difficult. One of the things I've talked about is as we lay out policies and we hit the ground running day one, it is how do we actually streamline the process so we can have more people apply for some of those jobs at the city and contracts with the city. So I think that's one, is make sure that we can broaden the pool of applicants, making sure that we go out and try to recruit some of those applicants to get involved in the city. I look forward to seeing what we can do with our procurement process to make sure that we widen the net. And I don't think we've thrown up so many obstacles that small businesses in general don't have the resources or time to go through all the hoops that the city's requiring. So we can really set the example. And I've been talking about how the city government should be leading in a lot of ways, and this is one. We also want to go out and do more in the neighborhoods about how I've talked about an Office of Small Business Support that we actually will be creating to go out into the neighborhoods, and it could do a lot of things. One, it could work with businesses to find out what resources they need and make sure we're closing that gap to at least connecting those dots. It can also be helping businesses understand how to grow and start a business. The city has the YFD centers, youth and family development centers throughout our city that really we need to rethink more as community centers and how we can use some city resources to bring tools out into the community instead of expecting everyone to come on 11th Street to figure out how to do business with us.
So workforce development is something you've obviously talked about today, and I think you're passionate about. In terms of talent, what do you believe can be done to increase the number of young adults that are earning a thriving wage, which I think statistics show is about $32,000 a year for a single adult?
Well, one, we have an unbelievable opportunity right now with remote workforce to recruit a lot of great talent. I look at what the mayor of Miami has done just on social media to try to recruit business and talent, and let's do it here. I mean, there's no better place to live. So I look forward to working with the chamber, with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, because they've done they really have done some great things to highlight us as a city. So recruiting talent in, I think we have a great opportunity. But we also need to bring more business here, because I do hear so many people in their 30s that say they have to leave Chattanooga because there isn't any more opportunities. Unless we recruit more jobs, we're going to keep having that occur. So I think it is really a full force throttle on job recruitment and making sure that we're focused on economic development. I'm excited about working with Charles Wood and with you all and saying that I'm going to be open, accessible, and we're going to start making calls. I think that we've just really started to tap into the potential of what we can do and how we can recruit to Chattanooga.
So you talked about the 30 somethings. Let's go down a little bit to the opportunity youth, those that are age 16 to 25 and are not currently engaged in work or school. How do you propose as mayor that we could re-engage those opportunity youth and get them into the workforce and being able to earn that wage?
So I think we do have an unbelievable opportunity. I look at companies like Legacy Box, that is what they're doing with showing a path forward, working with Howard and with I can't think of the other school right now. Is it Eastridge High School? To really bring students in and show them career paths. Stuff like that's happening all over the city. What I've been told by some of these employers is they could have a lot more students if we could help them with transportation. Even Rock City, I mean, they have great career paths and they do a lot of internships, but kids can't get there. So I want us to sit down with CARTA, which is the most underfunded public transportation system in the country. And let's talk about how, as a city, we can think differently about how we actually have mobility through our city. So maybe it's not all buses, maybe it's a combination of things, but I think what we see as my administration and the work I've done in the business community is really creating a network. So it's almost like, how do we come beside the Future Ready Institutes that Dr. Johnson has done so well and take it even one step further to show actually how you actually can grow a career.
So you mentioned Dr. Johnson. He's obviously the superintendent of the Hamilton County Department of Education. And we know that Chattanooga is the largest municipality in the county, but so much is dependent upon county government as well. How will you as mayor work to cooperate or collaborate with our elected officials on the county behalf, whether that be county commission or the Hamilton County Mayor, Jim Coppinger?
Yeah, I have a great relationship with Mayor Coppinger. I've sat down with Dr. Johnson. We can do so much more together than we can separately. And I do look back at the background I've had with creating partnerships and collaborations. I have a different leadership style. It's not all about me. It's about we. And I think how we actually grow our city and our community is a more regional approach. I've met with all the different municipalities to talk about how we start thinking about things in a bigger way. So I think it's open lines of communication. You have to leave ego at the door and say what's good for the whole community, not just for city versus county.
So in terms of community and quality of place, kind of coming full circle, downtown development, it's something you've spent some time on a little bit in your career. What would be your number one downtown development priority if you were to become mayor?
Well, we've got to fill some empty spaces right now. That's why my Office of Small Business Support is, we're going to put that in place to look at what we do to fill some of these empty storefronts. Before COVID, we were having some issues already, but now since COVID, I mean, we've lost some of the things that make Chattanooga unique. One of the reasons that we get so much business from tourism is because of all the other little special places that we all support each other. So it really is putting together tools to look at how we can recruit small and medium-sized businesses and fill some of those empty storefronts. River City Company has started a One Riverfront plan, and it will be finished or right about the time the new mayor takes office. I was involved in that plan before I left River City, and it really was rethinking the riverfront. There's a lot of empty parking lots and spaces. It's been 25 years since we've really spent any time there. We've got to make sure our downtown core is strong. If it's strong, then it will help Alston and Wheeland and all these other sites, but it's got to stay strong. But I think looking at partners like River City is what we would be moving forward with.
So speaking of the downtown core, the Walnut Street Bridge, as mayor, would you have any plans to repaint or refurbish the Walnut Street Bridge?
Yeah, well, that's already on the drawing board, so that's a trick question. Yes, and I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I know that they had to go through a lot of hoops to move it forward. I think I couldn't even tell you the date if it's going to be later in 21 or in 22. But yes, I mean, it is. When we talk to people, visitors and residents alike, that is one of the number one places they love. It really is a blending of all of our community there. So it's got to be refurbished. I know the money has been set aside. So yes, I'll have to give Mayor Burke credit for that one, but yes, it needs to happen.
So that was a bit of a softball there. So let's talk about early childhood education, because as we talk about workforce development, I've heard the concept of cradle to grave. What role do you think the city could play in increasing or expanding early childhood education?
Well, Justin, I'm so excited about this. We've rolled out today a new 10-point women and family initiative, and as city government, as the mayor, we're going to take a lead. We want to lead by example. We're going to offer childcare to city employees, and then we're going to challenge other businesses in the city to work with us on how we expand seats. We're losing so many people out of the workforce. Our goal is to increase seats, 2,000 seats during my first term. And that is, we're losing talent. We need to change lives. So many families I've talked to have had to make the tough decision about leaving their job. Over 2.4 million women across the country have left their jobs. I mean, we've lost all the gains we've made over the past 25 years during COVID. So childcare has always been an issue, but I think COVID has really highlighted the fact of how quality childcare affects everybody. So I'm excited to have that rolled out, and we're going to take the lead. I look forward to talking with other businesses and challenging them. I want to work with the Early Matters Coalition. They've done a lot of great work. Jump in the middle of that to see how, by example, and using the mayor's office as a bully pulpit, how we can actually start meeting some of those goals.
So let's shift gears completely to transportation. We all know that Chattanooga has its own Department of Transportation. In terms of transportation funding and transportation priorities, where would your priorities be from a transportation perspective if you were elected mayor?
So right now, the issue needs to be paving. I mean, we've kicked the can as long as we can, and I can't tell you, there's not a conversation I have that people don't talk about the quality of our roads, which aren't a very good reflection of who we are as a city. So we've got to be prepared to grow. Part of that is also bringing Carter to the table as a partner, not as a side partner, but as a partner at the table to look at different modes of transportation. So right now, we've committed to put $3 million more into the paving transportation budget, but there's so much more by leveraging what's going on with TDOT, sitting down with TDOT as a partner, looking at the infrastructure bill that we hope that comes out late spring, early summer from President Biden's administration, how we actually use those funds to take care of some things that we need to do in order to grow our city. So transportation infrastructure is a huge piece of our policy.
So as you know from being a longtime member, the Chamber is an organization of 2,000 plus member businesses. We're focused heavily on economic development, and we interface a lot with both the county and city mayors. But if you're sitting in the mayor's seat and the chamber comes to you and says, how can we help? What are we not doing well that we could perhaps do better or do differently? What would your advice be to the chamber or to our members as to how to help you succeed as mayor?
So from the chamber, what could the chamber do more
That's
of?
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I would say, I think it's a partnership. I think that there has been a disconnect with business recruitment and maybe business resources. So I think it's more collaboration of what city resources can also be used as we actually try to grow our city. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that we work more in concert, and I plan on doing that. But I think business recruitment has been a piece that we're missing the boat on, and I don't think it's all the chamber's fault. I think we need to have more collaboration and more succinct goals of what we're trying to do as a city.
So just as kind of the last topic to touch on today, you have been out a lot doing a lot of these road shows, and I think you were with one of my partners an hour ago and several debates. Just what would you tell our members, just to kind of wrap things up as they are thinking about early voting and going to the polls? What would you tell our members as to why they should vote for Kim White for mayor of Chattanooga?
Yeah, Justin, thank you for the opportunity and for what the chamber does. As someone, I am passionate about the city. I have put my heart and soul on making Chattanooga the best place it could be since I've been back here 18 years ago. I think I have a background that relates to most Chattanoogans. Growing up in a middle-class family, understanding how to juggle a paycheck, understanding the struggles. I think that gives me some perspective of what Chattanoogans are going through. I think I have a very unique experience, having been with a Fortune 500 company, managing large budgets, working for a very large economic development nonprofit. The fact that I've recruited business and industry jobs to the city, to downtown, worked as a partner and collaborated with so many of your members, from the CEOs of organizations to small business owners. I think I am uniquely positioned to step into the mayor's role day one. I've been involved with the planning of Austin and Wheeling site. I've been involved with the health and wellness district that has so much potential. I love the city. I would love to have the support of your members. Would love for them to get out and vote. As it's been 161 years and we've never had a female mayor. And I'm not running as the female mayor, but I feel like the most qualified candidate with a different perspective and a different viewpoint. And I think if there's ever been a time to pull our city together with a different viewpoint, with collaboration, it's now. So I would love to have the support and vote.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here today and for running and spending your time trying to make our city better. Remind everyone, early voting started March 24th. Election day is April 13th. And we thank you, candidate Kim White, for being here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.